Hi, I'm Jennifer Chen. My parents raised me to believe that real wealth isn't loud, it's disciplined, patient, and humble. While other kids dreamed of stethoscopes or courtrooms, I was glued to stock tickers. By 12, I was devouring investment books and tracking market swings like other kids tracked celebrities. "Sweetie, maybe go outside?" my mom would say, peering at me over towers of financial reports. "This is outside." I'd grin. "Did you know Warren Buffett bought his first stock at 11? She'd laugh. "Just don't forget to live while you're building your empire." I promised her I wouldn't. I tried to keep that promise. By 16, I was managing a small but growing portfolio, birthday money, tutoring income, every spare dollar reinvested. When I earned a full scholarship to Harvard University to study finance, it felt less like luck and more like alignment. That's where I met Michael. Finals week, one economics textbook, two hands reaching for it. "Ladies first," he said, smiling. "Jennifer," I replied. "Michael, maybe we should just share?" We did. Study sessions became coffee breaks. Coffee breaks became late-night debates about markets and management. He admired my ambition. "You're going to dominate the business world," he'd say, watching me break down financial models. "Any company would be lucky to have you." He never realized I didn't want a company, I wanted ownership. Because my scholarship covered everything, I invested aggressively, quietly, strategically. By graduation, my portfolio had multiplied many times over, but I kept it private. I wanted to be respected for my mind, not envied for numbers. Michael joined Sterling Industries, a major tech firm in Boston. I declined prestigious job offers and continued investing independently. "Are you sure?" he asked when I turned down another corporate role. "These are incredible opportunities." "I have my own," I said gently, "trust me." We married a year later in a small ceremony. His mother, Patricia, never hid her disapproval. "Investment consulting," she'd say with a tight smile, "is that even stable?" I would just smile back. By then, my holdings, diversified through layered investment vehicles, were worth over $50 million, and among them was a steadily increasing stake in Sterling, a controlling one, though no one knew, not even my husband. Michael thrived under James Wilson, the company's vice president of operations. Wilson was sharp, loud, and proudly outdated. "The issue with modern marriages," he'd joke at corporate events, "is women forgetting their place." Michael would offer an uneasy chuckle. I always noticed. Then came the annual executive gala. Sterling was preparing to unveil a sweeping restructuring plan. As majority shareholder, I had more than curiosity at stake. "Are you sure you want to come?" Michael asked while adjusting his cufflinks. "It's mostly internal politics." "All the more reason," I replied, fastening my grandmother's vintage watch around my wrist. It had accompanied every major decision of my life. The ballroom shimmered under chandeliers, champagne flowed, conversations hummed with ambition. Michael led me toward James Wilson, who stood near the bar holding court. "Jennifer," James boomed, "we're discussing Sterling's bold new direction." "Reducing RD to boost quarterly profits?" I asked lightly. "Doesn't long-term innovation create stronger valuation?" His smile tightened. "Well, the little wife has business opinions." Soft laughter rippled through the circle. Michael shifted. "She reads a lot of financial news." "Sterling's problem," James continued loudly, "is too many voices from people who don't understand real business. Reading the paper doesn't make someone an expert." More laughter. Across the room, CEO Thomas Richards watched carefully. Before I could respond, a familiar voice cut through the noise. "James," Sarah Martinez said smoothly as she stepped forward, tablet in hand, "you may want to reconsider that statement." James blinked. "Excuse me?" Sarah glanced at me. "Would you like to explain, Jennifer?" I felt the cool weight of my watch against my wrist. "Yes," I said calmly, "since you're concerned about shareholder value, perhaps we should discuss the report I'll be presenting at Monday's board meeting, the one detailing why your restructuring plan will fail." Silence fell like glass shattering. "Board meeting?" James barked. "What are you talking about?" Thomas Richards stepped closer, studying me. "Jennifer Chen. JC Holdings." I knew that sounded familiar. I smiled slightly. Anonymity can be a strategic advantage. Michael's voice trembled. "Jennifer, what's happening?" Sarah turned to the stunned circle of executives. "Your wife," she announced evenly, "controls 51% of Sterling Industries shares." The air seemed to vanish from the room. James flushed crimson. Impossible. I assure you, Sarah said, tapping her tablet. The documentation is airtight. Richards nodded thoughtfully. That explains quite a bit. The board has relied heavily on Mrs. Chen's analyses for years. James stared at him. You knew? I suspected, Richards replied. It's why your restructuring proposal never cleared final approval. Mrs. Chen's objections were persuasive. Michael looked at me as if seeing a stranger. 5 years? We've only been married for 3. I began investing in sterling before we ever met, I said quietly. Richards gestured toward the elevators. Perhaps we should continue upstairs. The ride was silent. Michael avoided my eyes. James simmered. Sarah stood steady at my side. Richards' office overlooked the Boston skyline, glass, steel, ambition stretching into the night. We sat. James leaned forward first. This is outrageous. It's strategic, Sarah corrected, placing documents on the desk. Jennifer Chen, through layered holding entities, has accumulated majority control over 5 years. Michael swallowed. Why didn't you tell me? I met his gaze evenly. Because power, I said softly, is safest when it's quiet. I explained evenly. The company had potential, but it needed modernization. I saw an opportunity. Modernization? James sneered, as if the word offended him. Yes, James, I replied, unshaken. Modernization. Investing in innovation instead of gutting R&D. Building a culture of respect instead of maintaining a workplace fueled by fear. Thomas Richards leaned forward in his chair. Mrs. Chen's recommendations have shaped our long-term strategy for years. Her forecasts have consistently outperformed internal projections. Michael's voice barely rose above a whisper. Why didn't you tell me? I held his gaze. Would it have changed anything? If James had known I was the majority shareholder, would you have defended me when he mocked me? The silence answered for him. This is absurd. James shot to his feet. I've given 15 years to Sterling Industries. You can't just turn it into a company that values its people? I cut in. Your restructuring plan would have crippled long-term growth. The board won't support it. Richards nodded. Which brings us to your future here. James blinked. My future? Yes, I said, standing to face him directly. Your leadership is outdated. Your strategy is reactive. And your behavior is unacceptable. Sterling deserves better. You can't fire me, he barked. You're just a shareholder. Sarah's tone was calm but lethal. A majority shareholder. Michael still looked stunned. You told me your consulting was small, he said quietly. I never lied, I replied. I simply didn't share everything. Ask yourself honestly, would you have respected my decisions if you'd known? James tried one last outburst, gesturing wildly. She's dividing this company, women like her. That's enough, Richards said sharply. You'll receive the terms of your separation tomorrow. Leave. James stormed out, slamming the door. Sarah gathered her tablet. Call if you need anything, she said softly before stepping out. That left Michael, Richards, and me. Mrs. Chen. Richards began carefully. Do you intend to take a more visible leadership role? Yes, I said without hesitation. We begin with a full review of executive conduct and company culture. Michael swallowed. And us? I faced him squarely. Are you prepared to see me as your equal, or am I still the little wife who should stay quiet at corporate events? He looked shaken. I need time. He left soon after. Richards exhaled. Family and business rarely coexist peacefully. Principles matter more, I replied. The fallout was immediate. Headlines appeared within days. Sterling Industries faces executive shakeup. For a brief moment, the stock dipped, then it stabilized as investors absorbed the strategic roadmap I released. Increased R&D funding, transparent leadership accountability, expanded employee equity incentives. Inside the company, opinions split. Some whispered that I was dismantling tradition, others felt, for the first time, that someone was listening. Within a month, employee satisfaction jumped dramatically. R&D filed 12 new patent applications. Market confidence returned. James, meanwhile, hired counsel and threatened a wrongful termination suit. It dissolved quickly once financial projections became public. At home, things were colder. Michael moved into the guest room. Conversation became careful, measured. His mother, Patricia, was not measured. She swept into our house one afternoon, heels striking the floor like accusations. This power display has gone far enough, she declared. Step aside and let the men handle the company. The men? I repeated evenly. You've embarrassed Michael. His colleagues don't know how to treat him. Like they treated me? I asked, with condescension and mockery. That's business, she snapped. Undermining women is business? You tricked him, she shot back. He thought he married a normal wife. Mom. Michael's voice cut through the room. Patricia turned in relief. Thank goodness, tell her she's gone too far. But Michael wasn't looking at her. Mom, he said calmly, you need to leave. She stared at him, stunned, then she left. Silence lingered. I heard everything, Michael said quietly once the door closed. And I finally understand. I've been managing you instead of supporting you. I'm sorry. I studied him carefully. I never wanted to overshadow you. I wanted partnership. You have my respect, he said. I don't expect your trust yet, but I want to earn it. My phone vibrated. Sarah. Jennifer, she said. James has withdrawn his lawsuit. The latest projections convinced him. Send me the details, I replied. And thank you. When I ended the call, Michael looked at me. Good news? He's backing down, I confirmed. Performance tends to silence opposition. He nodded slowly. What happens now? For the company, and for us? Sterling continues evolving, I said. We're launching a parental leave policy and a women in tech mentorship initiative next quarter. And our marriage? I took a breath. Are you ready for an equal partnership? Not in words, consistently? I want to be, he said. A faint smile appeared. Maybe we start with me moving back into our bedroom. The guest room mattress is terrible. I laughed, genuinely, for the first time in weeks. We'll need counseling, I said, and boundaries with your mother. Agreed, he replied, though I wouldn't mind being there when you present your leadership initiative. I'd like to see her reaction. For the first time since the gala, hope felt real, not because I had power, but because I no longer needed to hide it.